MTV used to be known as the network that solely focused on music, and they've been influential in that aspect. Michael Jackson's Thriller premiered on their network in 1983. Madonna and Britney Spears shocked the world when they shared a kiss at the 2003 VMAs. Oh yeah, and Christina too. Beyoncé announced her first pregnancy during the VMAs, and Miley Cyrus stunned everyone when she twerked on Robin Thicke and a foam finger back in 2013. Saying MTV had just a few influential moments would be a huge understatement. Because the network was constantly expanding into other forms of media, like creating iconic reality shows like The Real World and Road Rules, and airing mostly forgotten sketch shows like The Ben Stiller Show and You Write It, You Watch It, MTV decided to expand and shift some of their focus from music to film. Being officially founded in 1995, over the next 20 years, MTV Films would go on to produce so many iconic movies like Varsity Blues, The Wood, Save the Last Dance, Crossroads, Napoleon Dynamite, all of the Jackass films, and Hustle and Flow. Initially, MTV was expanding their film department too quickly, and they were producing about 3 to 5 movies per year. Because they were trying to rush into this market, certain films got lost in the shuffle. And that's exactly what happened with the often forgotten film, 200 Cigarettes. Being written by a one-and-done screenwriter named Shanna Larson and directed by a very successful casting director named Risa Brahman Garcia, 200 Cigarettes is a star-studded film that has been deemed a cult classic. Starring Ben and Casey Affleck, Paul Rudd, Christina Ricci, Kate Hudson, Dave Chappelle, Courtney Love, Nicole Ari Parker, Guillermo Díaz, Gaby Hoffmann, Martha Plimpton, and Janine Garofalo, just to name a few. This film is honestly iconic for its casting, over-the-top 80s wardrobe, and a phenomenal soundtrack. The film opens up with Dave Chappelle playing a disco-loving cabbie who picks up most of the characters throughout the film. While his character is technically unnamed, we're just going to call him Dave for simplicity, because, I don't know, it just feels weird calling him Disco Cabbie. The first group of people he picks up are best friends Lucy and Kevin. Because Kevin just got dumped the night before by his actress girlfriend, and in Capricorn fashion, he doesn't like celebrating his birthday, or any holiday for that matter, Lucy has no choice but to drag him out of the house for a New Year's/birthday celebration. Despite Lucy buying him a huge box of cigarettes as a birthday gift early into the night, all he could talk about was death.
Well, I'm sorry that it's my birthday. Believe me, I'm sorry that I was born at all.
I mean, his pessimism is so loud that even Dave has to call him out on it.
I mean, I've been listening to you, buddy. You way too uptight, man. You gotta look around you.
On the other side of town, we meet Monica, who is also a character that connects almost the entire cast together. As she's getting ready for her New Year's party, she's stressing about pretty much everything. She's stressed that no one's going to show up and that her exes might bring their better-looking girlfriends. Hell, she's even stressed that people won't like her dip recipe she got off the back of a cream cheese box.
No one's coming. No. The losers will be here.
While Monica is losing her mind at home, her little cousin Val and her friend Steffi from Rinconcoma have been wandering around New York City looking for a neighborhood called NoHo because she could have sworn that's where Monica lives.
NoHo? I thought you said Soho.
No, I said NoHo.
Yeah, they're going to be lost all night. After Lucy and Kevin arrive at a bar and he harasses a few patrons while ranting about how terrible New Year's is, Lucy sets her sights on the bartender, named Bartender. He also doesn't have an official name, so we're just going to call him Ben. Aren't I so creative? Lucy makes it very clear that she's interested in him, but for some reason he isn't feeling the same way.
That bartender doesn't even know I'm alive.
She keeps trying to get his attention by ordering more and more drinks, and eventually it works, and Ben agrees to go to Monica's party with her after his shift ends. While this is going on, at the same bar, we're introduced to Bridget and Eric, who are talking about Monica's party. You see, Monica and Eric broke up 6 months ago, which of course concerns Bridget because it's so recent. He insists that he's only going because Monica nagged him and is intensely worried that no one will show up, which seems truthful based on what we saw earlier, but Bridget and her friend Caitlin aren't buying any of his excuses.
Are you
refuse to go out with the slutty girl that's throwing this party tonight.
After having a quick discussion about this in the bathroom and bringing up how terrible he is in bed despite him being a vagina artist, Bridget quickly decides to break up with him. Minutes later, she comes up with a terrible lie claiming that her ex came back from the dead and that's why she has to end things with him.
Just called you up to say, hi, how are you? I'm not dead.
That's right.
Not shockingly, Eric goes off and snaps at both Bridget and Caitlin.
What kind of woman are you anyway, just blurting it out like this? And you, with your sordid little agenda.
Before storming off. The next character Dave picks up is Cindy, who is apprehensive about going out. While at a party the night before, she met a guy, went home with him, and had sex for the very first time. Now on New Year's Eve, she's about to go on a date with him, so of course she's nervous because she wants everything to be perfect. While talking to Dave, she keeps going back and forth on if she wants to go, but after some light convincing from him, she changes her mind because what's the worst that could happen, right? We're then introduced to Jack, who quickly becomes annoyed with Cindy because she's agreeing with everything he says.
Do you want to go to the party?
Sure.
Right.
If you want to.
Good.
And being overly nice. I would describe her as like this hopelessly naive romantic. For the majority of their date, Kate Hudson, aka Cindy, gives us so many physically comedic moments, which feels like an ode to her mother, Goldie Hawn. Some of those moments include shattering a hanging light, knocking over food, and falling in the street on top of dog poop. Back at Monica's place, the only person there is her roommate Hillary, who is so bored out of her mind that even sleep is a better alternative. When she decides that she just can't bear the boredom any longer and she wants to leave, Monica becomes so desperate that she offers up her ex Eric, who we of course know is terrible in bed. Despite accepting Monica's offer though, Hillary still leaves, but she does promise to come back later into the night.
You're not supposed to leave!
Eventually, Monica becomes so bored herself that she starts watching Love Story alone. Unfortunately for her though, her rewatch is cut short when she hears a knock at the door and it turns out that her first and only guest is, of course, her ex Eric. After walking for hours, Val and Steffi end up at a punk club on Avenue B, which I guess is supposed to be a rough area. At this point, Steffi has had enough of Val's antics because not only did she lie about knowing a cool band,
Been bragging for months about how we're gonna meet this band on New Year's Eve in New York City.
but she also falsely promised that they could leave whenever they wanted, even though the trains have already stopped running for the night. Their argument gets cut short though when they notice that the two guys who were following them for blocks are now staring at them. Freaked out by this, they go back into the punk club and then they run into a dark alley, but somehow they still can't seem to get away from those two guys. The guys then introduce themselves as Tom and Dave,
My name's Tom, this is Dave.
and for the rest of the film, they all hang out, dance, and eventually make it to Monica's party. After leaving the bar, Jack makes it obvious that he's ready for the date to end. But when Cindy confesses that last night was her first time, he instantly changes his attitude and practically lights up. I mean, he literally has a sparkle in his eye. He asks her if she would like to get something to eat, and they end up at his favorite Indian restaurant. During the dinner, not once did he ask her anything about herself. He only wanted to know why she chose him. After giving it a moment of thought, she genuinely couldn't come up with a single reason. But despite her reaction, he still kept pushing for any answer.
What was it about me in particular? Okay, be specific.
It didn't work. When Cindy rushes to the bathroom, Jack runs into an old fling named Cheryl, who he lied to and then ghosted.
You said you were going out of town for New Year's Eve.
Really? I said that? That's
Because their entire date was terrible, Jack just ran into one of his angry exes, and essentially Cindy was holding her emotions together by the tiniest of strings. They both decided to end the date, but not before telling each other how they really feel.
I never said I was nice. You're the one that kept going on all night about how nice I was.
You were just there. I would have gone home with anybody last night.
This is a really great moment because Cindy finally stands up for herself, and in turn, Jack shares how he really feels. Soon after ditching Eric, panic mode sets in for Bridget and Caitlin because they quickly realize they're dateless for New Year's Eve. They have this superstitious belief that the way you bring in the New Year's sets the tone to how the rest of your year will be. They're going to be so single that they're completely invisible to guys. This is when they both start to pursue Ben, and tensions between them start to escalate because they both want him.
He's not your bartender, he's our bartender.
That is until he starts talking.
My clothes and those clothes would look good on my floor. By the way, how do you like your eggs in the morning? Scrambled or fertilized?
When they get to know him and learns that he's a law school yuppie who's excited about Reaganomics, red flag, not surprisingly, they ditch him within minutes. For the rest of the film, we watch as they panic to find a date, and things get so competitive between them that they have to decide if finding a man for New Year's is more important than their friendship. After Lucy and Kevin leave the bar, she becomes so tired of his complaining that she literally offers up her pocketbook and even tells him that his ex Ellie slept with one of their friends, which is a lie. When Lucy presses Kevin about why he isn't enthusiastic about potentially sleeping with her, she jumps to conclusions and assumes that he isn't interested because she's a sexually free-spirited individual. He denies this assumption though.
Danky little hoe, maybe, but never a slut.
She then dares him to sleep with her, and I mean, it is a dare, so of course he has to do it. They sneak off to the bathroom and attempts were made, but their moment is quickly interrupted when Ellie walks in and catches them. At first, Kevin gloats and even yells at her because remember, he is still under the assumption that she slept with his friend. But when she denies this and tells him that she actually wanted to get back together before just now catching him, all of his anger immediately shifts to Lucy.
Okay, so I was wrong about Jack.
Their argument gets so explosive that they equally decide to spend the rest of New Year's apart.
My life is totally screwed up now because of you.
The only reason I keep you around as my friend is because you make my life look great by comparison.
For the rest of the film, Kevin attempts to make things right with Lucy, and because they blurred the lines of their friendship, both of them must decide if they want to remain friends or pursue something deeper. Due to him just being dumped, Eric frantically rushes into Monica's loft and immediately starts demanding to know why she broke up with him. Monica tries to avoid these questions, but when he threatens to leave if she doesn't give him an answer, she caves in and tells him the truth.
You were the worst lover I ever had in my life.
And that's a quote. When he proclaims that he's open to receive any advice on how to improve, she tells him there's nothing he can do. He's a lost cause. Also, on a side note, am I the only one curious to see what he could be possibly doing to earn such scathing reviews from not just one woman, but two? Moving on. After Monica tells him the truth, he turns the situation completely around and blames her for their inadequate bed chemistry.
Blaming me for being bad in bed because you're clearly stunted in some way physically.
To prove that he can be a great lover, his word, not mine, he starts to take off his clothes, but luckily Hillary walks in and saves Monica from this torment. Hillary immediately starts flirting with Eric, and due to Monica having no one else to talk to, she pours herself one drink after the other until she passes out in her room. The film ends with a party that we don't get to really see, but I think the antics leading up to everything is just as entertaining. If you want to watch a fun New Year's film with an amazing cast and an even better soundtrack, you definitely need to watch 200 Cigarettes. Also, supposedly, there is literally 200 cigarettes throughout the film, but who has time to count that shit? Bye!